Welcome to Cryptocurrency Vlog number 8. I'm Brent Nally. Today is November 9th, 2017. Today we're going to talk about the top 5 problems or concerns or really just misconceptions about Bitcoin. But before we hop into the meat of the vlog, I want to give an update of current news on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So again, today is November 9th, 2017. And yesterday morning it was, in my opinion, abruptly announced that the long-term expected fork of Bitcoin to SegWit 2X that was scheduled for November 14th of 2017 was abruptly canceled. And this was shocking to me. I hadn't been following it too closely, but pretty shocking to the community, and it drove Bitcoin to a new all-time high of almost 7,800 US dollars, and then it quickly came back down and it's been hovering around 7,200 to 7,300 dollars the last 24 hours. So what does this mean? The SegWit 2X fork has been discussed for a couple years and been big news for the last year or so. Bitcoin had the first fork on August 1st, 2017 when Bitcoin Cash was created because the Bitcoin transactions are too expensive and the Bitcoin transactions are also too slow. So people want to use money that's essentially cheap or basically free, and they also want to use money that transacts fast. The faster, the better. So if you look at Amazon's entire business model, Amazon is betting that you're always going to want a product to get to your house faster, and you're always going to want a product to be cheaper. You're never going to go on Amazon and say, I really enjoyed this product, however, I just wish it was more expensive and took longer to get to my house. So you want to think about things in life to invest in that are going to stay the same. Everybody's worried about what's going to change in life, and that's important. But the real thing that you want to be thinking about as an investor is what is going to be the same in life in 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 100 years from now. And we know that we're always going to want money that's going to be incredibly fast, instantaneous transaction settlements, and we're also going to want money that is basically free, that has no cost of transactions. And that's what's a problem with the Bitcoin network right now, is that it's turned into more of a store value of gold, because I sent somebody Bitcoin a couple days ago and it cost almost $5 just to send that person Bitcoin. Alright, so that's a little bit of news going on right now. Now let's hop into the meat of the vlog. Alright, so let's jump into the top 5 problems or concerns or misperceptions of Bitcoin that I've been hearing from this vlog's audience, and that's also been circulating on the internet. And also, this is just general questions that people have when they're new to understanding Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Number 1 is security and hacking. So people are concerned that the Bitcoin network will be hacked, or that it's not secure, and that you'll just lose all your money one day. I understand for people who are brand new to this, who don't understand how the Bitcoin blockchain works, because it is brand new technology and it is a little complex, why this should be a concern. However, for people who are very educated in this knowledge of the Bitcoin blockchain, you'll see that this is not a concern at all. I'd put it at probability of 0.0000001% that Bitcoin will be hacked in the next 2 to 3 years. From there on, who knows, you get into quantum computing and incredibly complex things. We're not going to jump into that for the purpose of this vlog. But the way that Bitcoin works is there is a blockchain, and in order for new blocks to be added to that chain to verify transactions, you need to have every single block on the chain from the very beginning of Bitcoin, January 3rd, 2009, when Satoshi Nakamoto sent the first Bitcoin to a gentleman named Hal Finney. Every single one of those blocks need to be verified by the entire network of millions of computers before that block is verified. And so this prevents double spending, because the whole network is verifying every single transaction. You can imagine that this becomes incredibly more and more complex and massive amounts of computing power to do this, which is why the transaction fees of Bitcoin have gone up, and why it costs more money, and why the transactions take longer to do now when they used to be incredibly fast. So this is a problem of Bitcoin, of driving up the prices of the transaction fees and driving up the time it takes to settle those transactions. But this is really what secures the Bitcoin network and ensures that your money is not going to be double spent. The money that you own with your private key is secure on the blockchain of Bitcoin. So in 2017, where we have all these massive brands that have been hacked, like Equifax, Target, JP Morgan Chase, Home Depot, the list goes on and on and on. You can rest assured that Bitcoin is incredibly safe and a secure place to store your value. And if you don't understand that, you need to look into it more. The purposes of this vlog is still for early stage folks, and we're not going to get into too complex more details on this at this time. So just Google or YouTube Bitcoin hacking, Bitcoin security, and go wild down the rabbit hole if you're still not convinced. Number 2 of the 5 major concerns, problems, or misconceptions of Bitcoin is that people think that it's too late to get into Bitcoin. They see that Bitcoin went live January 3rd, 2009 at a fraction of a penny per Bitcoin, and now people see that Bitcoin is at over $7,000 US per Bitcoin here on November 9th, 2017. And so naturally people think that it's too late, I missed it, I don't want to pay this much for Bitcoin, and people feel bad or they feel upset that they didn't get in early. I had those feelings myself. It's natural. You gotta get past that. Break that out of your mind and your processing of this information. And I'll give you some data on how to do that. So currently it's estimated there's about 15 million Bitcoin wallets that have been downloaded. If you start purchasing Bitcoin, then you'll realize that most folks set up a few wallets when they join. So 15 million is approximately 0.2% of the entire population of the planet, which is roughly 7.5 billion people. So we're looking at the absolute most, 0.2% of people on this planet have purchased Bitcoin. And it's way lower than that in reality. And this can still scale and grow so much more. This is still the incredibly early stage of Bitcoin. And so in vlog 7, I gave some price predictions for the future of Bitcoin. This is not financial advice. I am not your financial advisor. This is just my personal prediction of where I see Bitcoin going after studying many different Bitcoin experts who have been incredibly accurate on their prediction of Bitcoin's price since 2010 and 11 and so on. And so I believe that Bitcoin will be approximately $70,000 to $100,000 by 2020, which is just about 2 years off, and that Bitcoin will be around $1 million from anywhere from 2023 to 2025.
$1 million.
Obviously, there's many things that could change there with forking and with other cryptocurrencies, but for right now, that's my prediction based off all the information that I've added together. So basically what you need to ask yourself is, would you like to make 10 times your money in 2 years? And where else are you going to find an investment that comes anywhere close to that is incredibly secure? So no, it's not too late to invest in Bitcoin in my opinion, and it's basically the equivalent of 1994 right now, with Bitcoin being the internet of money. And so would you want to invest in Amazon in 1994? Google didn't even exist till around 1997. Facebook didn't even exist till 2003, the big brands that are a big part of the United States internet. So please break that condition. It's not too early to invest in Bitcoin. It's just not. The data shows you that it's not. The third problem or concern or misperception or misconception of Bitcoin that I hear quite a bit is that it's just too complex, Brent. I don't understand Bitcoin. I don't understand cryptocurrencies. I don't know if I trust it. That's why I'm doing this vlog, because it is complex. We're on vlog number 8 now. We have maybe 2 hours total of content if you've been watching from vlog number 1. Hopefully you have a much better understanding of how Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies work. However, I do understand it's incredibly complex and that most people don't have the time, energy, effort, or interest in going much deeper. So you could just follow this vlog to continue to keep up to date with the big things. So that's why I put this vlog together, so that we can follow as a community and create a community of trust on where Bitcoin is going and how secure it actually is. So please, comments, questions, shares, likes, subscribers are highly encouraged, if you haven't noticed yet from what I've been saying. The fourth problem or concern or a misconception of Bitcoin is that people always tell me, Brent, governments are going to stop Bitcoin. They're not just going to let Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies take over the whole fiat currency structure that dominates this planet through central banking. And I understand what people are saying. However, 99.9% of people lack the knowledge of how central banking actually works on this planet and the control structure of central banks and what they can and cannot control. This is where my expertise knowledge does come in, because I've been studying this for over a decade on the internet. So let me break it down. First, when you hear people say that governments won't let Bitcoin succeed, you need to define your terms. Japanese people are referring to their Japanese government mainly. United States citizens are referring to the US federal government when they say this. Canadians are referring to their government when they say this generally. Do you get it? There are about 200 nation states on this planet. And if you haven't noticed, they don't all agree with each other. And they all have different perceptions, beliefs, wants, wishes, hopes, desires, structures of their society. So there is no one government that can shut down Bitcoin globally. They can try and stop Bitcoin in their own country, and we have many examples of many different countries trying to stop Bitcoin in their own country. They have all failed miserably. So let's talk about a realistic way that governments could actually shut down Bitcoin. Governments would have to get together, and they would all have to collectively agree to turn off the entire internet on the entire planet. And that is not really a realistic scenario, because our entire global economy is now run on the internet. So that's not a realistic scenario. Individual governments can choose to do what China's been doing the last few months and ban certain exchanges in China, but that will only slow down exchanges in China. Bitcoin has just continued to go up through this banning in China of central exchanges. And now we're having decentralized exchanges spring up in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency community as a result of this. Again, you cannot stop decentralization. It's the natural evolution of the internet. One thing that governments could actually do is they could go to some of these massive Bitcoin mining server farms that are very secretive. The Bitcoin mining community right now is very centralized. So this is a problem short term for the Bitcoin network. Governments could actually go in with their soldiers and with guns and physically shut down Bitcoin server mining farms. However, this would drive down the Bitcoin price probably in the short run of anywhere from 10 to maybe even 90% potentially. This is an extreme scenario. I don't think this is likely. But if that were to happen, it would be a short-term downfall of Bitcoin. But I think that it would make Bitcoin stronger in the long term, because it would move all of the miners in Bitcoin globally to be more decentralized. So I see the fact that the Bitcoin mining community has become very centralized, and there's only a few, central mining companies or entities now that can actually mine the blocks on the Bitcoin chain, as being a problem. It's probably not too good for Bitcoin, but it's naturally happened because that's business. They're making money by mining the blocks on the chain of Bitcoin. But the reality right now is that if you look at the massive arbitrage in places like Zimbabwe that we've talked about, where Bitcoin is trading at a much higher percentage than it is in current places like the US. Remember, Bitcoin's trading around $12,000 in Zimbabwe last time I checked, whereas it's around $7,000 in the US and the rest of the world. This is actually stabilizing the Zimbabwe currency, and it's actually giving more power to the Zimbabwe citizens, because they have a safe and secure place to store their wealth that their governments cannot steal from them, and their wealth is going up as Bitcoin goes up. So this is giving power to the people of these incredibly disenfranchised and oppressed people like Zimbabwe citizens. So just like we had the Arab Spring rising in 2011, where we had social media platforms like Twitter being used to totally take out Mubarak, who was the head of the Egyptian government, and also take out Gaddafi, who was the head of the Libyan government, we're now seeing maybe the beginning of a similar type of technology in Bitcoin, giving financial power and security to citizens from the ground up to fight an oppressive government like Zimbabwe that's run by a 93-year-old named Robert Mugabe, who's, in my perception, basically like a Darth Sith, incredibly oppressive communist socialist regime there, where you cannot speak out against your government. There is no free speech. And there's currently, I believe, a 25-year-old American female citizen of the U.S. who spoke out against the Zimbabwe government living in Zimbabwe, and now she's being threatened to be in jail for a very long time. So we need to be reminded that if we're American citizens, there's a whole big planet out there, and there's a lot of other people who aren't in the same situation that we're in. I feel great sleeping at night because I know that by owning Bitcoin, I'm actually helping impoverished people on the planet find a place to securely store a value of money and even grow that money in the Bitcoin network. So the fifth out of 5 reasons that I personally see to be the #1 concerns, problems, or misconceptions or misperceptions of Bitcoin is that people are worried that they're going to lose or misplace their private key, or they don't fully understand how to store their private key. And that's very legitimate. I'll have a link below in the description as well of a Bitcoin early adapter that I've been following for years. His name is Jeff Berwick, and he just came out with a great video on how to think about storing your Bitcoin and your cryptocurrency. I've also talked about this in this vlog a few times, so see vlog number 7 if you haven't watched that yet on how to store your Bitcoin and your cryptocurrency. But it is really important to understand how to secure your Bitcoin or your cryptocurrency, because I've heard many stories of people losing their Bitcoin, and we want to stop those stories from continuing to happen. So to be clear, the safest way to store your Bitcoin or your cryptocurrency is on a cold storage hardware wallet. We've shown you the Trezor wallet as well as the Ledger Blue touchscreen wallet, and there's other wallets as well too for cold storage. But a place like Coinbase that is FDIC insured is just as secure as a place to store your cryptocurrency, your Bitcoin or your Ethereum or Litecoin, as is on your digital bank account, maybe Bank of America or Wells Fargo or Chase, whatever bank that you use. It's just as secure to store your cryptocurrency on Coinbase as it is on any of those banking sites, because Coinbase is FDIC insured. So I basically think that storing your money on Coinbase today is 99.99% secure, while storing your money privately with your own key on a cold storage hardware wallet is 99.999999, or basically 100% secure, because those hardware wallets cannot be hacked. Alright, so those are the top 5 concerns or problems or misperceptions that I personally feel Bitcoin and cryptocurrency have right now, from not only in my own brain, from what I've researched over the last 6 months, all day, every day, and from what I see other people saying on the internet, and from what I see personal friends, family, people, strangers from this vlog reaching out to me, the questions that they're having. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope that if you're not fully convinced on all of those or any of those 5 concerns, that you now have the resources and the knowledge to dive deeper into anything that you're not still convinced on. So in closing, I want to recommend a great book that is appropriate for this audience of beginners of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And it's by a gentleman that I've been following for a number of years, who I think is really weird and really smart. His name is James Altucher, and he thinks very differently than most people. James Altucher has 2 major messages that I've noticed over the years. Number 1, save yourself. This whole paradigm of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, blockchain, decentralized autonomous organizations is about empowering the individual. Save yourself. If you want to save the world, that's great. I want to save the world too, but first I know that I have to look within and save myself and gain my own knowledge and power and money, and then I can have the resources to save the planet and fix all the problems that we all see on a daily basis with our government and our society. So that's number one, save yourself, from James Altucher. Number two is that we are in an economy of ideas right now. This is an ideas economy. So you want to think about what ideas are going to be important for the future. And here's a really powerful idea that I got from James Altucher's book, Cryptocurrencies 101. I highly recommend you read this book. It's very short, easy read. It's made for beginners. Any person watching this vlog and understanding the concepts in this vlog will understand the concepts in this book. And the major thing that stuck with me from this book is a powerful idea that James puts forth that's very difficult to argue, which is that societies have moved from theism to humanism, where we are now, and we're moving towards a society, a global planet of dataism. So think about thousands of years ago, and maybe even just 500 years ago, every single part of our human society could be explained by theism. God did this. If you got sick, it was because of, the devil or evil spirit or whatever. Now we're in a world where humanism rules everything. You go to a physical doctor, that doctor gives you a prescription that he determines from data, and but you still have to go to a doctor. In the same way, people don't realize that our money is being created by people, by these central bankers that none of us actually elect and we have no control over. So Bitcoin is actually a way where we have full transparency of how money is created, and we can all collectively, as a free market, determine what money is actually worth on this planet. If Bitcoin is to succeed and replace the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. So everything is moving towards dataism. This is not something that any individual or group or government can stop. This is the natural evolution of the planet. And this is a healthy thing for the planet. So this isn't something that you should be trying to fight. It's something that you should be trying to learn about. And when you're convinced that it makes sense, invest in yourself. So remember, on YouTube, please, if you haven't yet, like this video. Please remember to subscribe if you haven't yet. Hit the bell to receive notifications. Comments are highly encouraged. And please share this video with friends, family, colleagues. Very much appreciated. And remember, you can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Thanks so much. Looking forward to vlog number 9 coming out soon.